Coralie, sweet as Clarabelle's coffee cake. Moreau treated me to the history of this delight. Clarabelle's cake, like her, used to be very popular. But sales dropped off rapidly, and the media fell silent about the talented baker. Coralie was supposed to have witnessed how a dejected Clarabelle went crazy. That church mouse? It chose a nicer subject. Did supper with Baptiste go well? Yes, they'd been together since he returned from Guyana. Unfortunately, Chantorp had brought back the deranged Gabriel from there. Did she mean Gabriel Cassidy's, Clarabelle's drawing teacher? Yes, apparently Baptiste persuaded him to return. But Coralie reckons that's bollocks. She believes that what made him return was the letter Baptiste brought. A letter from Clarabelle. Did Gabriel really come back for her? Coralie sensed trouble.
We met in a coffee house. Nice girl. He's not the man for her.
A phone call from Coralie's mother interrupted. Her obedient tone surprised me. Her mother must have trained her well. She spoke about her problems with her father, then we parted. At least, that's what she thought. I was on her tail. Followed her to the armored doors of an unassuming tenement. She was greeted by an enormous Asian bodyguard. She tried to hand him some papers from Gabriel. He told her she had to report in person. The boss is waiting. Resigned, Moreau went inside. All I could do was wait. I lit a smoke and went up a side street. A rough sleeper smelt the smoke and looked at me imploringly. I gave him my last cigarette and a couple of quid. Bingo. The guy told me the tenement belonged to the Yakuza. Inside, the local mafia boss operated. The mother, they called her. I wrote my phone number down for him on the empty cigarette pack. Having an agent like this in the field could come in handy. I rang Clarabelle. Why had she summoned Gabriel? Was she missing her drawing lessons? And Baptiste? What was his role in all this? What's going on, girl? She tried to cover it all up as just an old friendship, something trivial, nothing to write home about. She'd heard that her friend Coralie's boyfriend was flying to Guyana to see Gabriel. So she'd taken the opportunity to get in touch. That was all. Did she think I was gonna fall for that? I need to check the investigation board. Now I need to set the new clues and data on the board. No, no. This won't work. That's it. Some great deduction skills, Oliver. So, what's going on in this one? You really deserved this bonus. So, what do I have to deal with this week? think that's all I've got for now. Let's see if there are any connections. Another report. Hope there's some good news. Someone place an order. The deal isn't great, but it's a chance for some extra cash. So, what do I have to deal with this week? Good morning, Miss Kobayashi. Thank you for the invitation. I'd like to tell you about what my company is about.
Good morning, Mr. Oliver. Take a seat. My PA has prepared a profile of your company for me, but I'll happily hear it from you.
That painting behind you. Is it possible I'm looking at an original Rothko?
Yes, and well done, Mr. Oliver. I hung it here for 2 reasons. In praise of simplicity and to test the level of my interlocutor. You just passed.
I haven't come here as just another supplier. Of course, producing good coffee and delivering it reliably is the core of our work, but we have much more to offer.
Such as?
We have profitable ideas and the right strategies to implement them. Before I came here, I prepared a few interesting solutions for grind. Please, take a look.
Thank you, I will. I'm pleasantly surprised, Mr. Oliver. That doesn't happen often. What do you expect in return?
It's enough for me if you come to think of us as more than just another supplier.
Done, Mr. Oliver. I like to give such presents.
Let's cut to the chase, Ms. Kobayashi. I want to really get to know the needs and requirements Grind has so as to match our offer to them as closely as possible.
I've already told you, Oliver. I don't like repeating myself.
Yes, reliability and originality, but perhaps there's more.
For now, it will be enough, if you don't disappoint me.
I've really enjoyed talking about art with you. Time flies, though, so I'd like to return to business. We can discuss painting when we go to Modern House.
I was about to suggest the same myself. There is a time for pleasure and a time for business. I'm glad you can tell the difference. Let's begin. Let's keep it short and clear. Grind needs a change of image. You can be a part of our success. Failure is not an option. We can talk on condition you accept this provision. Free delivery for the period of our collaboration.
Free. 40% deliveries? That's the most I can offer. Grind gets much more than that, though. We know everything about building a brand. A new product launch should be your priority. We have some very innovative ideas.
We don't want any revolutions, just top quality. Our philosophy is one of class and a certain conservatism, although that's a gross oversimplification of Grind's values. Going back to the quality, if we get into bed together, your company will have to guarantee it supplies beans that meet the standards stipulated in the future contracts.
I don't pretend to understand the Oriental way of thinking, but expressions of delight are comprehensible in all cultures. Please take a look at the opinions of our clients and read the coffee blogs. On most of them, we're praised to the heavens.
I read them before our meeting, and I didn't find the answer to my question there. I mentioned the future contracts, so tell me the details. If you don't have them, I'll have to have this discount.
Forgive me for making the wrong connection. I'd venture, though, that nobody can match our quality at the moment. Here's a certificate from the best grader in the country. The coffee has the right level of bitterness, no earthy notes. A new standard in the premium class for you with this discount.
Finally, some specifics. If I'm to invest more, I need a good reason to. The grader's certificate from Waldorf will suffice for now. I'm counting on you next time, though, to get to the crux of the issue.
I should sum up what happened after that meeting. You're doing a great job. A parcel was waiting for me in the office. No info about the sender. That usually suggests the contents will hurt someone, as long as it's not me. I tore at the cardboard. Among the crumpled up newspaper lay a video, labeled Meeting with Mother. This was getting interesting. I snapped open a small beer cough and put the video into the machine. I was secretly hoping the cassette would be more helpful than my last business meeting was. I hit the play button. Tensely, I waited for the film to start. Bingo. Hitomi Kobayashi's office. Hold on. Did he say poorly to the camera? Okay, so Moreau made the recording. She must have sent it, too. Hitomi had got Harold involved. He was to help with the break-in from the inside. Maybe that way they'd learn something about the lost third canvas. Hitomi gets angry. It's over Baptiste's article on coffee Noir. Thanks to him, the legend of that coffee was all over the papers again. People are curious. That's bad. Coralie must do something about it. She's not happy, but she backs down, or pretends to. Maybe she wants to record Hitomi giving a clear order. But how? Ah, the camera's in her brooch. That's why the night beam, as she referred to the jewelry when I asked about it, is round. Knockout. She's a knockout. It's going to be a wider operation without Coralie, but she needs to know about it. The firm wants to confuse the Italian mafia and encourage them to steal 2 parts of the Kersey's triptych from the British Museum. It's a strange conversation. Hitomi is giving orders like a stern parent or some sort of general. Her plan is simple and brutal. Coralie is to squeeze out of Baptiste everything he knows about coffee Noir. That's why she seduced him. Refusal would have dire consequences. Nobody knows that they stole the originals long ago, and what's in the museum is a perfect copy. Casares painted it. The guy has a special talent. After all, Yakuza select the best. Coralie would do well to remember it. Moreau is spying for the Japanese mafia. So, Gabriel told the truth. Planters in the British Museum are a fake. Harold, the museum curator, is mixed up in it. This case is getting too tangled. need to check the investigation board. Now I need to set the new clues and data on the board. I think that's all I've got for now. Let's see if there are any connections. No, this won't work. No, this won't work. No, this won't work. I think I didn't set the production properly. I need to plan my actions. New week, fresh start. I think that's all I've got for now. Let's see if there are any connections. No, this won't work. This one. No, this one. I think I didn't set the production properly. I need to plan my actions. Another report. Someone placed an order. The deal isn't great, but it's a chance for some extra cash. I think that's all I've got. Let's see if there are any connections. This one. No. This one. No. This one. I think I forgot about this week's delivery. So, what's going on? Someone place an order. The deal isn't great, but it's a chance for some extra cash. I think that's all I've got for now. Let's see if there are any connections. That's it. Some great deduction skills, Oliver. That's it. Some great deduction skills, Oliver. This won't work. No. This won't work. No. This won't work. New week, a fresh start. I think that's all I've got for now. Let's see if there are any connections. Congratulations. You've just got yourself a raise. You really deserved this bonus. You really deserved this bonus. I think that's all I've got for now. Let's see if there are any connections. No. This won't work. No. This won't work. I think these are all the connections. I still need to move the investigation further and get more clues. Should I move the investigation forward or wait and make some more cash instead? New week, a fresh start. Should I move the investigation forward or wait and make some more cash instead? My homeless snout called me. Poor Lee had had an accident. I jumped into a cab and asked him to step on it. Moreau was sprawled in the street. She was curled up oddly and had no coat on, like she'd just popped out for a smoke. She'd been dead for only a few minutes. Who did this to you, babe? Was it a botched mugging? Yakuza? Her blank eyes showed no fear, more disappointment. I could sense it myself. Such a young, vibrant woman. I needed a cigarette, and I knew my snout would too. So I took him back to my office for a chat.
Arthur, the last days are not very bright for us. The police handed over Richard's body to us after many weeks, and the investigation is still ongoing. As far as I know, they have literally nothing. Corrupt, lazy motherfuckers. It's good that you don't work with these bunglers anymore. We're on our own. Richard's funeral will be held at West Norwood Cemetery. You'll soon receive a message regarding a specific time, if you want to be there at all. I think you should, but not exactly to say goodbye to Richard. I've read that the perpetrator of the crime often shows up at his victim's funeral to admire his own work. It's sick. We have to do everything we can to get these scum. We still don't know if Clarabelle and I won't be next. It seems to me that her mental state is deteriorating. She's acting weird. Watch her closely. You gain a reputation as a coffee seller. I believe that if you continue to work undercover, you'll finally come across the trail of the murderer, or murderers. See you, Henry Kersey.
So, what do I have to deal with this week? This is a good lead, but the information may cost me a lot. Who called the cops? You.
Of course. I'm homeless now. Are you bonkers? They locked me up for that.
For vagrancy?
For being undocumented alongside a dead rich bird.
Exactly when did it happen?
What's it look like, mate? If you tried to lift her wallet, you'd see she's still warm.
Okay. She died on the spot.
That's what it looks like. I'm not an expert on flying tarts, though, eh?
Okay. And you called me right after she fell.
Right after, once I snapped out of it, I was stood right next to the bloke. I could have taken a shot to the head, and then you'd have a flipping mystery.
What precisely happened?
That's what I want to know, mate. I thought I was just keeping an eye on your ex-bird, didn't I? Then someone comes flying out the window. It's bloody criminal. I want more dosh.
You'll get it. Now pull yourself together and answer my questions. I'll keep it brief, okay?
Alright, okay.
Great. You followed her all day?
Yeah, like you wanted.
Did she behave differently than usual?
Too right she did. She was a bag of nerves in a rush. She kept looking around all the time, like she knew.
She didn't. She came here and you followed. What happened then?
Here, she really started snooping about. Worst crook I've ever seen. Nice looker, though.
She wanted to steal something?
You bet. All amateurs go through a malarkey like that before they lift something.
Okay. She went upstairs. And then?
They must have found her. I mean, some bloke did. I reckon they knew each other, because at first, they were just yakking.
And after that?
They started having a row and then came out through the balcony. I just managed to get out.
You said came out.
Yeah, she came out. Flying out. Came down with a thud. I need a stiff drink.
Did you hear what she was arguing about with the man who discovered her?
Maybe. I got this ringing in my ears. It only goes away when there's money around. You got any change?
Take this. So what were they arguing about?
Some sort of papers, documents. The bird wanted to lift them. That's what did for her.
Anything else? What kind of documents?
You think they stopped and read them to me? You're having a laugh, mate. The whole row lasted less than a minute.
And if you had to describe how she fell, did she slip, or did the guy push her?
Flip, I don't know. I was standing down below trying to earwig as much as I could. I can't see the third floor from here, can I?
Okay. They were arguing. Tussling?
I don't think so. The bird was saying, sorry. The geezer raised his voice.
Was he angry?
Yeah, but not like when you're so knocked you're gonna punch someone. You get me?
Okay. So it was an accident?
I don't know, maybe she was trying to calm him down and he pushed her away. What's the difference? She's dead.
Where's the guy who discovered Coralie?
They dragged him off a moment ago.
Just like that? He didn't try to escape? Resist arrest?
No, I think he was in shock. Flip, I know I would. Kill a smart-looking bird like that.
Thanks. You've been a help. Is that all of it? Or is there any more?
Of course I got more.
Which means?
It means it'll cost you more. Otherwise, the cops will find out that before she died, someone was having her followed.
Here you go.
Don't be down, mate. I've got more.
What is it?
That old geezer from the museum who was supposed to have it hopped up.
Harold? What about him?
He's back. I saw him today going in and out of that Hitomi's place.
Thanks. But you're getting no more tips.
No worries. You can count on me. Thanks, mate, and good luck. You won't see me again.
I need to check the investigation board. Kersey's funeral needed the appropriate setting. The skies over the city were as gray as life without coffee noir would be for those gathered there. The ceremony rapidly turned into the Clarabelle show. Even the guy in the coffin must have heard her sobbing. Everyone else was calm. Almost everyone was there, and I still had plenty of questions. I waited till the end of the ceremony, and then I went looking for answers. Richard wasn't even the most important person at his own funeral, not when Jordan Alver was standing over his grave. The biggest fish in town. Hello, Mr. Alver. Please forgive me, given the circumstances, but I'm a sales director for Clarabelle Kersey, and I might have an interesting deal for you. Can we meet?
Do you want to sell me Richard's debts?
Not at all. It's a new product.
Very well. We can meet later in my restaurant.
Clarabelle's loud sobs mingled with the restless rustle of graveyard tree leaves and the preacher's monotonous voice. I must admit that many would fall for this extremely emotional spectacle. I warned Hendry that his funeral visit was a very dangerous move. As usual, he didn't listen to me. I hope he has at least some sensible plan to slip out quietly from the watchful eyes of all the enemies of the Kersey family. A faithful servant, fully believing in his master's happy return and keeping in impeccable shape to the same end, not giving any signs of great sorrow. If it weren't for the nervous tick in his right hand. It was odd seeing the ice-cool Brit in tears. What was she doing at the funeral? My condolences, Miss Gammelfist. I know you were close.
We could have been, but the wimp preferred his old painting.
How so?
Like this, one of Richard's friends saw us together. He threatened to blab to Catherine and the press, or he could give him the planters, but Richard said no.
So, he just denied it all again?
I have to leave now, Mr. Oliver. Goodbye.
The pastor recited the words of the service in a steady and different voice. The bland character of Richard's last goodbye contrasted surprisingly with his lavish life. Gabriel was there too. This time he wasn't going to give me the slip. Why did you run away, Cassidy's? I still had questions.
You? The Yakuza? Anyone? That's how I am. If I'm bored, I hop it.
You ran away from the Mafia.
Boring, boring. You see that man over there?
Alvar.
Alvar. Baptiste warned me about him. Bye.
I quizzed McFowl about the Kersey's pyramid scheme. I knew that someone else was involved in the scam. Who?
That's Tom Marvey, standing over there. He loves to tell everyone how he was in debt. But got out of it through hard work. Don't believe him.
Have you heard Van Haven's disappeared?
Of course. A strange and unnerving affair.
I gather you were starting a business together. Something art-related?
I was planning to till he disappeared. Let's hope he reappears soon.
Tom Marvey, pointed out by George as an accomplice in the Kersey financial pyramid. I must skillfully check this lead at the earliest opportunity. She hates Richard, yet she showed up at his last goodbye? I suspect that it was only to make sure that he was buried for good. Kersey's lies had finally gone to the grave with him. Meanwhile, Clarabelle was receiving condolences. Who was she putting this show on for? It wasn't for me. As soon as we were alone, she was much calmer. I offered to take her home, but she said there was something I have to do alone. That something was as fishy as hell, so I tailed her. The fishy scent led me to an empty underground station. What the hell was the elegant Miss Kersey doing here? Someone was waiting for her below. I recognized Marvey and Cassidy's. Gabriel. Now he was speaking clearly and simply. Was he putting it on earlier? He rebuked Clarabelle for not providing the promised coffee. She snarled back that he could get it himself, seeing as he lived in Guyana. The samples from the painting were gone.
It was enough to go to your head, wasn't it?
Marvy cut their bitchiness short. He thought that together they'd get the real coffee noir, and definitely had enough of this nonsense. I quickly hid behind the pillar and watched him leave. We'll be talking soon, Tom. I had to think about how to quiz him, and that was Clarabelle plotting? I already had a feeling that the girl had something on her conscience, but I'm afraid that this conspiracy with Gabriel and Tom is... well, it's not everything. More and more, I get the impression that she brought me to Neo-London not only to find her father. It's possible that Richard's death is the real beginning of my investigation. I need to check the investigation board. Now I need to set the new clues and data on the board. No, this one. That's it. Some great deduction skills, Oliver. No, this one. That's it. Some great deduction skills, Oliver. That's it. Some great deduction skills, Oliver. No, this won't work. I think that's all I've got for now. Let's see if there are any connections. You really deserved this bonus. I think that's all I've got for now. Let's see if there are any connections. Another report. Hope there's some good news. I think that's all I've got for now. Let's see if there are any connections. That's it. Some great deduction skills, Oliver. Someone place an order. The deal isn't great, but it's a chance for some extra cash. That's enough for today. New week, fresh start. Someone place an order. The deal isn't great, but it's a chance for some extra cash. Good morning, Mr. Marvey. Have you heard about the changes in the standards? Colombian beans will be worth half as many points as of next year. Everyone's investing in it today, and I don't think anyone expected such a turnaround in the middle of the harvest.
Welcome, Mr. Arthur. Yes, that's very bad news. What matters, though, is to keep your finger on the pulse, like you, and then react rapidly to the changes. There are situations where only our reflexes can keep us a half a step ahead of the competition. You've managed to do that.
What's the most important thing in your work?
Prioritizing tasks. The ability to evaluate what is most advantageous in any given moment. For example, your question, will a lengthy answer bring me any benefit? I doubt it.
What features should the perfect coffee bean have, in your opinion?
It should lie in the middle of the scale on all measurement parameters. As a master sampler, I have frequently observed that if something looks too good to be true, it usually is.
That's great advice. Thanks.
I'd like to draw your attention to something interesting here. All the methods of dealing with coffee, all the caution, the patience, and attention to detail I use in my work today, with similar success. What does that tell us? It's worth continuously nurturing the right features and habits. An effective, flexible employee will always be valued, not for their competence. That can change, but for their readiness to resolve new problems.
Thank you for the meeting so far, Mr. Marvey. I understand your point of view and the values of Springer's megastore better now. I hope that our offer will be just as enticing and help you better understand the philosophy of my company.
Fine. Let's take a look then. Let's focus on the demands of future contracts. That's fundamental to our collaboration. Tiny details have massive implications here. I'll start from the first detail. Where does your coffee come from?
From our sources, I selected Colombian for you. It's a guaranteed 200 points on the grader's assessment. I don't know of a safer investment than Colombian. The interest our customers are showing in it suggests the price will only go upwards.
Excellent. The origin of the bean is important, but it's not the only factor. Even coffee from a good source can sometimes taste bad, can't it? I'd like to see the grader certificate for your product.
From the very beginning, we've been focused on ecology and the fair trade movement, choosing activities in line with that philosophy. In reply to your question, we use sacks made by the local producers.
That's nice and appeals to me, but we have to meet standards for futures contracts. I shall accept those sacks, but only if the coffee is cheaper. Too often, I've received goods damaged by poor packaging.
Fresh start. Good morning.
Mr. Oliver.
Didn't
What was I supposed to see?
Good morning, Mr.
Welcome, Mr. Oliver.
What's the
Priority.
What?
It should lie in the middle.
That's
I'd like. What to?
Thank you.
Fine. focus on...
From our...
Excellent.
I'll make sure our grader certificate is sent along with the first delivery. We take great care over this. The beans are tested first at the plantation stores. Your future orders are being tested right now.
No tricks with the photocopied certificates? I'm impressed, Mr. Oliver. I'm happy to wait as long as it takes for the thoroughly tested product. Let's move on. I'm interested in the bean size.
In our company, we go by the rule, the bigger, the better. The last shipment in particular was excellent. The beans were up to a size 20. I'm certain they'll meet your expectations.
Are you sure they're that size? Even Colombian coffee can lose its value if it's significantly outside the norms. What can you tell me about the full imperfections?
I can guarantee brown, ripe beans with no wrinkling or twigs. Recently, Colombia has been battling torrential rains. That means shipments will contain some slightly moister beans. The sampler scored it 4 full imperfections.
4? That's an astounding result. Let's say I believe in your little diamond, but on my terms. I'll buy as much coffee as you want to sell me, but first, I need to see the sampler certificate showing that you really can deliver a large quantity of this miracle bean.
I'll get it prepared for you. I wouldn't sign a contract without one myself either. The only thing that worries me is being flooded with orders from you. This Colombian will attain high prices even with minor imperfections.
That's true. Colombian always attracts investors. But it's easy to be tempted by promises of quality and overpay for a poor product. I don't want that. How long after the certificate is issued do you need to deliver the coffee to my warehouse?
You'll receive the first delivery next week. Our coffee needs to remain in the stores for at least 5 months. Thanks to that, it can be more thoroughly checked, improving its quality prior to shipment. Higher quality means more profit for you.
These checks, whose idea were they? Beans that lie for 150 days dry out and lose up to 50...
Good morning.
Well,
what's the
priority?
What?
It should...
That's great.
What does...
Thank you.
Fine. Let's focus on the demands of future contracts.
From our sources.
Excellent.
I'll make...
No tricks with... Let's hope...
I can guarantee...
4. That's true.
The coffee only spends 2 months in the stores. We personally oversee every shipment. The product needs the best possible conditions. In the meanwhile, we organize the formalities and begin shipping. The first delivery will be with you in a week.
What do you mean by the best possible conditions? Can you give me the details?
Above all, we protect the beans from natural and artificial light by keeping the stores in darkness. Thanks to that, your coffee retains its taste and aroma as if it had just been picked from the bush.
That's not good. Darkness suits roasted bean.
We pack 60...
Okay, I've heard enough. Let's sign the contract.
I should sum up what happened after that meeting. Marvy was very busy, but he agreed to meet. I opened by telling him we'd met before. At Richard's funeral, the wise guy remembered me. I asked him if he'd ever done business with the Kerseys. Tom confirmed he had and inadvertently stressed the involvement of Clarabelle and Gabriel. Marvy let slip an ambiguous allusion to the pair. He had no idea I knew perfectly well what he meant. Clarabelle lied to Gabriel when she brought him back from Guyana. Apart from the stale old samples, she hadn't managed to get any more coffee noir. So Tom had been left in midair. After the negotiations, he offered to show me around the production hall. I happily agreed, sensing an opportunity to ask a few casual questions. Marvy was in his element. I had no idea what it was he was so proud of, but I pretended to be impressed by the equipment. It must have cost a pretty penny. It cost a whole lot more, Arthur. Tom explained how hard it had been to get out of the debts he'd fallen into, thanks to the Kerseys' pyramid scheme. He'd got back on his feet thanks to his dedication and hard work. He tactfully didn't reproach me for working for the creators of the pyramid. But I wanted to keep him talking, so I dangled out there that the Kerseys had recovered from the affair, too. They repaid their creditors, didn't they? I was bluffing, but Marvy seemed to buy it. He just retorted that unlike him, they hadn't worked for it. Henry, he reputedly regained his fortune in the casino. At least that was what he told everyone. And Richard, he didn't even bother trying to repay the money. Perhaps that's why we ended up meeting at his funeral. Marvy went back to the tale of his career and vision for the company. But I wasn't listening anymore. I was thinking about the Curseys. Richard, the wise guy. Henry, the gambler. My poor Catherine. And sweet little Clarabelle, who seems to take after her father. Need to check the investigation board. Now I need to set the new clues and data on the board. If I go bankrupt, my investigation is over. I don't trust banks, but this money will help. If I go bankrupt, my investigation is over. I think that's all I've got for now. Let's see if there are any connections. I don't trust banks. This money will help. Another report. Hope there's some good news. Good morning, Mr. Oliver. Arthur Oliver.
Hello.
Thank you for agreeing to meet me.
Don't...
Completing another astounding...
You'll
Good morning, Mr. Oliver. The dish of the day today looks really amazing.
You'll get used to it, Mr. Oliver. There's no place for mediocrity in my restaurants. You'll discover that for yourself very soon.
If it's better than the turkey and honey I had last time, then...
I want a 50% discount on your beans.
Pardon?
Relax, Oliver. My little joke. Just give your compliments to the chef.
What was your biggest obstacle at the beginning? I'm thinking about the moment when you took over that little bar in Chicago.
In those days, the biggest obstacle I faced was myself. I made too many assumptions and wasted a lot of time trying to second-guess what would happen next. Luckily for me, a problem with supplies arose. In solving it, I learned two things. Business, above all, is what you do, and you should always have a full warehouse.
Thanks. I will remember. Do you still have any more business goals? I'm trying to think what they might be, but I find it hard to think on your scale.
That's understandable. I have several. In one of them, you might even be able to help me.
In what area, precisely?
Logistics. Our greatest challenge is delivering coffee to outlets in 50 countries worldwide. The problem is with the final stage of delivery. The goods frequently arrive late and damaged. How does it look in your company?
Faultless. Just ask the people we supply.
Well played, Oliver. Of course, many of them work with us too.
Of course.
Okay. If you want to take up the challenge of working with disingrediation, I'll show you the workings of our logistics.
I admit I've heard a lot about you. Now I can see that most of it was true.
That I'm rude to reps, that I buy up and asset strip companies for fun, and my personal favorite, That I never blink?
Something like that. Meanwhile, you're actually just really direct.
It must be rather frightening in the world of spineless no-hopers, Oliver.
I can sum up my company's philosophy in a nutshell.
That's enough, Mr. Oliver. It's nice that you have one. Now, show me how effective you are. If I oversaw the logistics operations of disingrediation, they'd work fine. But I can't oversee suppliers from 50 countries around the world. An analysis of our transportation showed that the drivers delivering to the restaurants were responsible for a variety of errors. Lateness and damaged deliveries were only some of them. So you can see, it's a complicated matter. I'm not sure this is the right time to talk about it. Maybe we could schedule it for another day. I have a meeting with an important business partner in a moment.
I'll only take a moment. We can solve your problems at a stroke. Your customers know how much effort and passion goes into a luxury product. So waiting for it will only confirm for them its quality and the care taken with it. Don't fight late deliveries. Take advantage of them.
That's out of the question. I only accept lateness when it's a deliberately planned part of the game. No surprises. I don't want your marketing spiel, just real solutions, if you have any.
Perhaps I haven't presented them properly. In the book Brand Decalogue, I found the theory of corner cutting. It's often far more effective than laboriously patching over a complex problem. It's certainly much cheaper.
Unlike my time, which you seem happy to waste, Oliver. Parker told me all about his new book. He got so many corrections from me that I think I should have half the profits from the sales of his compendium. Pseudoscience for pseudo-business doesn't...
Good morning.
You'll get...
If it's...
I want... Relax.
What?
In...
Thanks. Do...
That?
In...
Legit.
Fault?
Well... Okay.
I'm curious where you get your information about the coffee market.
Where is that question leading to?
To check my sources, your experience and recommendations would be highly valuable to me. And if I get the chance to supply disingrediation, I'd like to be able to work from the same prognoses.
Then let's start by checking... Not...
Let's get...
So... If I oversaw the logistics operation... So you can see it's a
Well then, briefly, we can speed up the certification of the coffee using my team of samplers. They're highly professional, but they can speed up the process when it's required. You can gain an extra day through that.
That's a reasonable solution, but only short-term. As soon as we part company, the problem returns. Your proposal is an evasion. I prefer to face problems head-on. I build my authority by overcoming them.
In identifying the problem, we need to start from the human factor. That's usually where it lies. I would recommend improving the communications along the supply chain. Perhaps some training for the restaurant managers and drivers. If they understand each other's needs and expectations, they can collaborate better.
Investing in HR is important, but not at this stage, Oliver. We're flooded with customers and don't have enough staff. Training just gives managers more paperwork to complete. We don't want to stretch our resources and generate costs. We need a creative solution.
We can release...
Those kind of campaigns don't...
Allow me to...
Again, not a bad idea.
I should sum up what happened after that meeting. Jordan Alver met me in his restaurant. The guy was clearly a high roller. Delicious food, richly decorated interior, impeccable waiters. Everything in it screamed, "You can't afford this, Oliver." Out of reach to a simple sales rep like myself. But he did show up at Kersey's funeral. So I plucked up the courage to ask him for a meeting. He agreed. He knew I'd met Marvy.
Did Tom mention the loan?
Alver told me about how he'd lent the Kersey's money, yet Richard had still managed to get himself into debt. I replied that Tom wanted to invest in production of that legendary coffee variety and clear his debts. Alver laughed and called the plan unrealistic. Ruefully, I jabbed my fork into the last piece of that perfectly fried steak. Jordan downed the last of his espresso Merlot, 2010 vintage. Our chat was coming to an end. But I was planning on getting some more info out of him in another way. On my way out, I slipped a bug into his overcoat pocket. If it works, the case might finally pick up momentum. I hot-footed it back to the office. If Alver suspected anything, I had to catch his first conversation after I left. I switched the bug on. Music. Sound of pouring drinks. He was probably sitting at some nightclub. He was talking to someone with an Italian accent. Famous Mortonese mafia, perhaps. They were talking. They were talking about me. They knew everything. How I defended Catherine. How I went to the States. That acting as a sales rep was my cover. Damn it. Jordan started moaning about old Kersey.
Lionel overhyped the whole affair.
Luckily, they managed to persuade him to present the incident as a typical theft, and Catherine's death as an unfortunate accident. It was a pity they'd had to wait so many years for the painting.
Until today.
If only the old man hadn't tossed up the switch at the port.
It's true that instead of Richard, Kate showed up.
It would have been enough to just wrestle the picture off her. No one needed to die. Up till then, the old man had done a great job. With Britt, for example.
When Richard couldn't be blackmailed by revealing their affair.
The old man persuaded Britt to testify against the Kerseys. That did for them. They were drowning in debt.
Alver helped them settle, knowing that Richard and Henry had no way of repaying. In recompense, he demanded the picture, but instead of Richard getting the letter, Kate was the one who opened and read it. So, it was all a tragic accident. Kate died by accident, sticing up for that loser Richard to the bitter end. I couldn't believe it, and yet I had to. I had to find out who the old man they kept talking about was, fast. I need to check the investigation board. Now I need to set the new clues and data on the board. That's it. Some great deduction skills, Oliver. That's it. Some great deduction skills, Oliver. This won't work. No, this won't work. This is a good lead, but the information may cost me a lot. Another report. Hope there's some good news. Someone place an order. The deal isn't great, but it's a chance for some extra cash. This is a good lead, but the information... Good evening, Arthur Oliver. Is that Mr. Cattermole?
No.
Pardon?
Hello? Hello? It's me. I'm busy, very busy. Time and tide.
I'll only take a moment. I have a few questions.
Question?
By telling the truth, Mr. Cattermole.
The truth? Well, I suppose it's about time.
Excellent. I know all about you and Hitomi Kobayashi. I know about your role in the theft of paintings from the British Museum. I've seen the recording of her talking to Coralie Moreau. What exactly is your connection with Hitomi?
It's all in the past. I wish it had never happened.
Let's take it from the beginning. How did you meet?
At a party at Lionel Kersey's. The cream of society and me. I went to look at the famous The Planters painting. It was hanging in the lounge. Hitomi was already there. We started chatting. She was very well read, elegant, intense, extraordinary. I fell.
You were an item.
I'm afraid so.
In business, too?
No, not entirely. Mr. Oliver, I'd happily erase all those years. All bad. Everything that happened between us. Almost.
Why almost?
Because we had a daughter. A wonderful little girl. Anyway, you've met her. It's Coralie. Well, Coralie, actually. She died because of the ambitions of her mother. And now I must get back to work. My clients are waiting, and I need to earn money. I'm a little behind with the rent.
I can help you there. How much do you need? Did you get a closer look at the Planters?
Yes. I oversaw the renovation of 2 of the 3 parts.
When was that?
About 20 years ago.
Did the painting have any characteristic features?
Ah. So, you know.
I want to hear it from you, Cattermole.
Very well. In the corners of both paintings, the paint was applied more thinly. Underneath, I found some fragments of text. Together, they seemed to create a recipe. But the third, central part of the triptych was missing.
You said recipe. Recipe for what?
Growing coffee, Mr. Oliver. The Kersey's coffee. Its genome was hidden in the paintings. If you could recreate it, you'd be able to make coffee noir.
What did you do when you discovered it?
What did I do? I'll tell you what. I committed suicide.
What are you talking about?
I told her. I told Hitomi about the genome. I didn't know she'd tell her mafia bosses all about it. From that moment, I was a dead man. I had to do everything she said.
And so?
Well, for example, she forced me to steal the originals. So the Yakuza could analyze the originals for themselves. I was supposed to replace them with copies painted by Casares. So that's what I did. They came out so well nobody noticed.
Uh-huh. Carry on.
Hitomi was obsessed with finding the missing piece. There was nothing she wouldn't stop at to get it. You know that Casares was spying on the Curses for her, pretending to teach the little girl? Yes. The charming Hitomi was a real gangster.
Let's say I believe you. I have a few more questions.
But I really have a lot of work to do.
That can wait. I'll pay another month's rent, Mr. Kettermole. Please indulge me.
If you insist.
I'm glad I could be of assistance. Next question. Where were you on the day of the theft from the British Museum?
I was being held captive.
Hitomi. You already told me that.
No, I was being held by the competition.
Wow, you're really good.
You think that's funny?
No. Forgive me. Who was Hitomi's competition?
The Italians. It wasn't only the Yakuza who wanted to get their hands on the planters. The painting was also the object of interest of another mafia family, the Mortanese. They were looking for an expert to confirm the authenticity of the painting hanging in the British Museum.
And the museum curator was to hand...
Precisely. Hitomi came up with the idea that I would deal with verifying the works.
As a spy?
Yes, I was to drag out the analysis of the painting, trying to learn something about the Mortanese plans. Me! You understand?
And what did you find out?
That it was a stupid idea. They looked me up and down and threw me in the basement somewhere. God, I was afraid. That woman's ambitions nearly killed me.
So then, how...
Did I escape? Hitomi's people. They found me and got me out of there. The Queen got her pawn back. But not for long.
Indeed. I wanted to ask another thing.
Not today, Mr. Oliver. I really must work.
Then I'll buy your professional time. Instead of renovating a painting, questions. The Yakuza found out about it from Hitomi. She learned about the genome from you. But where did the Mortanese get whiff of it?
It's down to the old man. He put them onto it. Deliberately? Maybe.
So they knew about the legend of the coffee. They'd heard it might be true and immediately decided to check it out?
Just so. Any power-mad loon would want the genome of that coffee. The most desired substance, its owner would have absolute power. Just get anyone you needed to addicted.
Sounds reasonable. Who is the old man?
I don't know.
One last question, and I'll let you go.
That's an interesting choice of words. So I'm not your hostage?
Please, forgive me. It's a bad habit left over from my police days.
Okay. Forget about it. What do you want to know?
When the Mortanese held you hostage, did you learn anything?
I saw Richard Kersey get murdered. Unfortunately, I had no idea who fired. One of the bosses, I guess. There were 3 of them.
That's important, thanks. Why was he killed?
For the picture, of course. The Mafia wanted to get their hands on it, and Kersey didn't have it anymore. That pissed them off.
I see. Anything else you remember?
There was another guy in the basement with me. I'm almost certain it was Van Haven. You know, the businessman. The one whose disappearance they were talking about on the TV.
Sure. I know the guy. You talked to him?
We didn't have the opportunity. They shut me up in there and took him out. All I heard was, "We have orders to release you." Maybe they quizzed him about the painting, too.
It's possible.
That's all I can tell you. I have a certain job to do. I need to focus. Goodbye.
Thank you, Mr. Cattermole. I'll leave you to work in peace. Goodbye. I need to check the investigation board. Now I need to set the new clues and data on the board. No, this won't work. That's it. Some great deduction skills, Oliver. I think that's all I've got for now. Let's see if there are any connections. That's it. Some great deduction skills, Oliver. investigation is over. Trust banks. This money will help. If I go bankrupt, my investigation is over. I think that's all I've got for now. Let's see if there are any connections. Have I assigned all the tasks properly? Have I assigned all the tasks properly? So, what do I have to deal with this week?